welcome to the Orta Know Better podcast. Here tonight, we're joined by Karl, Jay and Adam. Welcome, guys. All right?
Hello, Leeds.
Excellent. We'll just get straight into it. And first on the menu is prediction results. Now, I usually pick these up, but as I'm host this evening, Jay's agreed to step in. Away we go, Jay.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a clean sweep of us all getting stuffed this week. I don't think anybody went for Arsenal, did they? So
yeah, one person did, didn't they? One
you
bastard
said that
got
earlier.
a point. Yeah,
you said that earlier, but that were for.
It was Bren. Bren went 2-1
Oh
Arsenal.
yeah. I was looking at the scores and thinking they're all for us then. Yeah, no, you're right. So Adam, you went with 2-1 Leeds. Becky went for 2-1 Leeds. Bren went 2-1 Arsenal, so we have to thrash him when we see him. Render 1-1 draw. Gilly, you went for a 2-2 draw.
Yep.
Jason, he went for a 2-2 draw. I obviously went 4-1 because ever the optimist me, you know. Almost, just the other way around. Karl, you again abstained, so you ended up with a 2-2 draw. Kay got a 1-1 draw. Luke a 3-1 draw. Nicola got a 1-1 draw. Smarty got 3-1 Leeds, and Ash had a 2-2 draw. Oh, and Stats went for 2-1 Leeds as well.
Indeed.
Looking at that, it's Bren's the only one that got any points this week, so he got 1 point. He's gone at one place in the table. Other than that, we're all in the same place. Nothing really has changed. So, yeah, not all right. What I can say about that, I'm glad that most of us went for Leeds. I'd have been very disappointed if anyone else had gone for Arsenal there. But yeah,
I'll be really honest. If I go for the draw, it's because I think we're going to get beat.
But you can't bring yourself to do it, can you?
No,
you can't bring yourself to do it. I'm
really
saying,
can't.
I just refuse to believe that we've got no chance.
I think the thing is, though, we'll stick a pin in that and we'll come back to that.
We sure will.
Just on that then. So obviously, I think most people that listen to the pod on a regular are aware that we now have a Berardi and Coke. So this week's was hosted by Luke. He was joined by Becky and Smarty, and we had guests on that were Shannon and Joe. Joe being the competition winner, so well done, Joe. And we'll include their hats in the details as we release the pod as well. But we'll still have a very short discussion on the game. Obviously, Arsenal won that one 4-1. So, Adam, I'll come to you first. 4-2 it was. Sorry.
Come on now, Gilly.
Poor note taking that, ain't it? Need to do my homework a bit better. So
I'll come to you, Adam. You turned your TV off.
I was going to say, yeah.
You got to stick with it, aren't you? I'm not one of those that can go early to get in my car.
Good lad.
Go on, Adam. What do you think?
I was one of them. I was livid. I was.
Can we turn him off?
I missed So basically, the first half was just, it was Sunday League stuff from Leeds. It was fucking appalling. And to me, that it's almost unforgivable for me. Like I said this about the Everton game. We don't turn up for a full 90 minutes, and it's almost like I don't know if there's a mentality thing with these players at the moment where, you know, they're going like, well, yeah, we're just championship players and we're this and we're that, and then they play like championship players for 45 minutes, and then play like fucking Pele for 45 minutes, but they can't do it. Let's be consistent, because it's for me that was the angriest I've been at a Leeds performance for a long time.
Do you know, I can hear that.
Yeah. I was really I'm like, yeah,
you go full mad Adam?
But I was fucking furious because it was the defending was Sunday League. You know, we got away with that with the Saka penalty shout, which at first I thought, fuck, that's a penalty. The second one where Melia clattered, I can't remember, did he clatter Saka again?
Saka, yeah.
Like, why are we not fucking doing out about, like, why are we making these silly mistakes in the first 45 minutes? And you could see Melia, his head had gone. So when the Bellerin's goal went in, when he just fucking tap danced around the whole back four, it was literally like watching a pro team play against a bunch of year sixes. That goal, it was fucking appalling, and for that reason, I had a beer at half time, like we all probably did, and I calmed down, and I saw the substitutions, and I had another beer because I got angry again.
That's when we hit the shots.
And then Costa came on. Like when Costa came on, and then 4-0, fucking brilliant. And it was just, I don't know why we're doing it to ourselves. These players have got to realise that they're in a privileged position. Yes, most of them are championship players. And yes, for 45 minutes, they look world beaters. But I don't want a 45-minute team. I want a 90-minute team that can actually perform at a consistent level. And that's not what we're getting. And that's the hardest thing for me. And that game is the angriest, as I say, the angriest I've been in a long time. I'm proper pissed off about it.
So I get that, and I think a lot of us were. But just to come back to the point that you made there, where you're saying, these are championship players. No, they're not. They used to be. How long does that excuse last?
It's like the free hit.
Sheffield United, first season back, they played brilliant. This season, the fucking championship players again. And this is the issue that we're going to have next season. The likes of, we're all loving the performances we're getting from certain players. Cooper, Dallas, Ayling. Let's be honest, Bamford, Alioski. Let's be honest. Are these guys, are they genuinely year in, season out Premiership players?
I think
or
some
are
of
they
them have
just
earned
riding the crest of a wave.
Yeah, some of them have earned the chance. Some of them have earned the chance. But I do come back to the point that a lot of us have made. This is not me arguing with you. A lot of us have made this point of this is the team that got us out of the Championship. Yeah, it did. They walked the Championship. They absolutely blew teams away in the Championship. Earned the right to play in the Premier League. I don't think we can keep saying this is a Championship side. And the reason I'm saying that, even though they were in the Championship, and maybe you could say that they found the level, is they found the next level now. They've earned the right to play in the Premier League, and they are doing. So what we can't then do is excuse them not doing well in the Premier League because the Championship players, because they're not anymore. They walk the league. So you can't keep saying that. So, that only carries you so far, and either they step up or they don't, ultimately.
But let's be honest, how many are stepping up genuinely, and how many do you see consistently stepping up for the seasons to come?
Consistently is the matter. I think, you mentioned Ayling there, and I think Ayling's had a cracking season. I think he's done really well.
Season.
I think he was really poor at the weekend.
He was out of position completely.
He was. Yeah. That first goal, he backed off and backed off and backed off. Now, isolated Meslier, but at the same time, you can't get away from the fact that Ayling's allowed that to happen. So I think Meslier will look into his far post, trying to second guess that's where the ball would go in, and he got beaten at his front post. And keeper shouldn't get beaten at the front post. He then did it again, but his head had gone by then. Ayling did back off. But I genuinely, he's been one of the better performers, or the most surprising performers of the season, I would say, in the league, not just in the squad.
Yeah,
you know what? I'll go on, Karl.
The way I was looking at it for a couple of years, lads, like you can kind of look at it yourselves if you look at the top six and the bottom six, the top six in the Championship and the bottom six in the Premier League. There is zero difference in the step up. Those 6 places, if you're in those 6 places in either league, that's essentially the same step, if you get me. And anything above the bottom 6 in the Premier League, we're essentially overachieving with a championship squad. But for us to be able to achieve what we're achieving, just kind of it means that he's done what he's done with the players and whatever, but he's taken that step up again. Like you said, Gilly, they've taken the next step into the Premier League, but again, they've also taken the next step to get out of that bottom 6. And I think that's a bigger step than anything else. But I think we are overachieving with the squad we have.
Yeah,
you guys probably didn't hear this because you were all watching the game. But I was I was driving home just before kickoff, so I was listening to Radio Leeds with the build-up. And it's funny what you were saying there, because Noel Whelan actually was saying the same thing about the players, and he said, yes, these players got us promoted from a Championship, and we'll be forever grateful to them for that, but they've done their jobs now, and the club now has to do its job and start to transition the playing staff and take it to a higher level by 100%. Moving certain players on. And I thought it were kind of, I were a bit shocked to him say that, because I thought it'd be more like, oh yeah, you got to stick with players, they've earned the chance and all that. I think we're at the point in the season now where everyone's had the chance. We know who's got it and who hasn't. And even those that we have to let go, we'll be grateful to them for what they did for us, and we'll never forget that. They'll be legends forever, with Leeds fans. But it is time to start looking forward, and you can't keep older people forever. And on that note, they got into the discussion about Alioski and a new contract for him. And he said something along the lines of when I think it was Pope, he said to him, "Oh yeah, but he's a good character around the place. The other players love him, he keeps morale up and all that." So Whelan turns around and goes, "Right then, hire a comedian. It'll be a damn sight cheaper." He had a really good point, and it is brutal, to a degree.
Yeah.
It is a great character, but we do have to start looking at how we're going to progress, and you can't be too sentimental with stuff like that. And the old saying is. Form's temporary, class is permanent. Well, that goes both ways.
Yeah.
So,
from the interview that we did, myself and Luke did, it was interesting talking to someone where they were basically from the outside looking in. It's totally different as fans. We're emotionally involved, but then from a professional element, they understand where they're like, yeah, he's got to go. You know what I mean? There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. It's just the way it is. And they're used to it, but we're emotionally involved rather than strategically and logically involved.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business, but we are emotionally invested in this club, and we will never stop being emotionally invested in this club. Now,
it's not your average business, is it?
It's not, and we named our podcast after Orta, and you can tell that he's emotionally invested in this club, but he's also a businessman. Rads is a businessman. They are in it. This is their careers. This is their jobs. This is not their hobbies. We do this as a hobby. It's a horrendous one sometimes because it's really depressing. But you know what? This is what we choose to do. I mean, some of us, we didn't really have a choice. But, to be so into it, this is something that is a passion for us. This is a job for them, ultimately. This is their business. Yeah. This is what they do. And they need to carry on continuous improvement. They need to make those incremental changes to the squad that takes us slightly further. And there's a lot of diminishing returns that we've discussed before. But at the same time, we've got to be able to start competing at that next level. And we've talked about that bottom six. And you're right, the bottom six of the PL and the top six of the Championship. We were the anomaly. We were the ones that were in there that had not been in the Premier League and had not had those parachute payments and were still in a position because of Bielsa's magic and because of Rad's influence that we were capable of getting, absolutely steamrolling the league in the end. But we were in the mixer on both occasions without big investment and without the benefit of the Premier League money. So to then at first time of asking go beyond that, where they've the yo-yo clubs are in there, the recently promoted clubs is it's astounding. Who could have believed that we would be in this position? And I agree with you, Adam. I was so pissed off at the weekend, but then you reflect on it and go, I'm really pissed off at getting beat by a side that cost the amount of Arsenal, and it's the expectation.
Yeah. But looking more to the future, there's two ways this can go for Leeds. If we can either do a Wolves where we consolidate, have a great first season back, and improve the playing squad, and improve, bring in better players, replace some of the mediocre, bring in better players. That's exactly what Wolves did. Or we can go Sheffield United, and we can keep the same players, pay another £27 million on a player that's injury prone. Do you know what I mean? Or we can keep the core of the team that did well in their first season back in the Premiership and get fucking bummed next season. That's what's happened to Sheffield United. And I would rather fuck the sentiment. I love some of the players that as Jay said, they've done us proud. We'll always be indebted to them for getting us out of that league. But go and do it for another team. Go and do it for Watford. Go do it for Wednesday. Go do it. Fuck Wednesday, actually. Go do it for, do you know what I mean? Go do it for another Championship team. It's not a Yorkshire one. I don't care. Go play somewhere else. Go make your money somewhere else. But I am not down for being a mid-tier. I don't want to be a Crystal Palace in this league.
Oh, fuck that.
You know what I mean? Doing nothing.
We're better than that.
Yeah.
I'm not having that. We are a top team. We're a top club, and we deserve to have top players coming in. And if that means
That's
that we
right.
have to let go people like Pablo and Alioski and Click and Dallas to a certain degree, nobody in this club other than Melier, Calvin, Rafinha, and possibly Rodrigo, if he can grow a pair of bollocks and get through 90 minutes. That's it. The rest of them are all replaceable and should be replaceable.
I've got to say, Harrison will be here for a while. Harrison's going to be here for a while.
I reckon we've got to spend on at least 3 decent players next season, like 20 to 30 mil each type spend. 100%. We're not going to spend fucking mega money, are we? But we've got to spend good money. We've got no chance otherwise. We just can't. We can't do any other. We've got no choice.
Agreed. No, you're right.
You know what, as well, Adam? Like you were saying how angry you were with that game. You know, I get real wound up sometimes.
No, we'd never noticed that, Jay.
Yeah. But do you know what? That Arsenal game,
Not a
I would just sort of sat on the sofa like, just fed up. This is shit. I couldn't even get angry. I was that let down. I couldn't. But they were all gone. It just seeped out of me with colour.
The worst thing, though, honestly, I've seen stuff on Twitter about if you can't support us at our worst, you don't deserve us at our best.
God, here we go. Yeah.
What, getting beat by Arsenal, and if we win our game in hand, we'll still be above them and be in the top half of the Premier League.
Don't you dare criticise the players when they play badly. It's not allowed. You're not a proper fan if you criticise anyone.
So I mean, that's all.
We pay us money.
Fucking hell, Salah scored. It's 1-0 Liverpool. Bastard.
No, never mind.
Right. Anyway, so let's cheer up and move off from the Arsenal game. So, Karl, I believe that you've got something for us from the poll outcome.
So thanks, Gilly. As the listeners know, every week we ask you to choose the main subject from the pod. So the following: Meslier, does he need timeout? Roberts, does he impact the game more than Pablo? Phillips, what's the best lineup without him in the team? And it's a bit of a whitewash here, really. Like with 9%, it was Meslier timeout. With 20%, it was Roberts over Hernandez. But with 71% out of the 250 votes, it was best lineup without KP. Now, this is probably the most talked about part now at the moment after the game against Arsenal, and we all have difference of opinions. But I'd like to maybe get your one there now, Gilly, if you don't mind. What do you think is the best options we have, and do we continuously put square pegs in round holes?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at it, I think we've all got various different opinions. People have shared opinions on Cooper. Lots of people have shared opinions on Alioski. Personally, I wanted Ayling at right back. I think that he excels there. He's had a cracking season, and you know what? He didn't have the best game, but he's done well at centre back in previous games when he's been called upon. But I want him at right back because he's fantastic. He gets forward, he gets back, he knows when to go, he knows when to stay. Ayling flops and slows the game down if we need him to slow the game down. But when it comes right down to it, we're only going to be talking about one player, and I've not mentioned him yet, and that's Strike.
Yeah.
Every single Leeds fan, before the game, during the game, as soon as that news came out that Calvin might not make it, everybody were going, please don't put Strike in middle. Keep him at centre-back. We're just getting to a point of having a settled back four. Please don't put Strike in central defence, defensive midfield, keeping in central defence, and let's just keep that back five static for a bit and just give them a chance at getting settled. And all right, yes, there would have been slightly different dynamic without Calvin there because he's so massive for the defence. But that was all it was. And do you know what? We speak about should Dallas be in alongside Click? Rod's out. So what do we do there? There's conversations around that. Should we bring Pablo in? Should we bring Tyler in? Ultimately, all of that's just a game of opinions. But all of the people that I saw sharing opinions said we must not play Strike in the middle, play him at the back.
Yeah. I think that's a fairly logical thing. Like, now I've seen the same kind of comments online, and the kind of kickback from that is, oh well, what do you know? Bielsa doesn't know. And it's like, well, look, let's be honest. Even Bielsa will admit that he's wrong, and he'll say it because he'll never blame the players.
Yep.
So he knows when he does something wrong. We don't need to, obviously we're allowed our opinions, and we're allowed to give them. But for people to come up and shut your opinion down because it's like, oh, you can't, like you said earlier, Jay, like, can't criticize players, can't do that, that's not allowed. But you can criticize to a point where if a whole fan base can see it, and I'm sure Victor and Andrea can see it, and Angus can see it when they're at the games and they know what the settle back four is, just leave it as the settle back four. Like you said, Gilly, it's the first time in a while we've had a settle back four and they were doing quite well. But it's again, it's just people's opinions and we're entitled to them, but we'll never, those opinions will never affect what Bielsa does, thankfully.
No,
because some of them are shite. Jay, like, who do you think would be better off in that position and leave the back four as it was?
As for who'd be better in that position, I'm not entirely sure, to be completely honest with you. It's just I'm more of a sort of change as little as possible sort of view from my perspective. You know what I mean? So I get that we have to like shuffle things when somebody's out, but surely just put somebody else in for Calvin. Don't change anything else. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand that. I know Bielsa's got his reasons for doing it. Like we've said, he knows far more than we do. But I think you almost said it during the predictions, Gilly, but we'd have probably all gone, apart from me, obviously, different predictions if we'd known that Stroik was going to be playing in midfield instead of Calvin. I think there'd have been a lot more draws on that list of predicted results. And it says it all. As you say, like Leeds Twitter, everybody up in arms about it. Just nobody wants to see him play there because he's never once been convincing.
But that's not to take away from him as a player, though, because he's done extremely well at centre back. It's just he's not a CDM. That's it.
No, I'd like to see him stay where he is. You know, it's been a bit of a sort of a shining light during these injuries that we've had. So I'd have kept him there, kept it settled, as you say. And I mean, maybe put Shaq in there. I don't know. He's just a bit lightweight. I'm not even sure what he brings to the team at the moment. I've not seen much from him this season. That's the problem, really. Like, who do you put in there if you don't put Stroik there? I just don't think there's anyone else who could really do it.
There's two players in the squad.
See Dallas there.
Yeah, there's two players in the squad that are not available. Forshaw and Cock. They can both play that role, and they're not available to us.
They're not available, are they? So that's what I'm saying. Who do you use? I'd probably put Dallas there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Can I
I was just going to say, Adam, you were shaking your head there. I was going to come to you there and just see what you were thinking.
Shaking his head in silence because he muted himself again.
It's just
tapping on glass.
This is, and it goes back a few pods ago when I was saying, what's the point in the under 23s, right? We've got a young lad in Non-Kenner who is a defensive midfielder, right? He's 17, 18.
Who, sorry?
Kenny.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce his name. It's Keneh, isn't it? Kenny.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say it.
It can be Kenny.
Kenny.
Yeah. Anything we want. I don't give a. At this point, I don't care. But what I'm under 23s, and this is what boils my piss with our under 23s.
He's brought the fire this week.
I'm angry. I'm still pissed off.
This since Sunday, haven't you?
We're 13 points clear in the PL2. Brilliant. What does that mean? What are these players getting from that? Kenner, whatever his name is at this point, right? Why is he not being trained the same way Calvin is? Calvin is our quarterback. Calvin is our Xabi Alonso, what Liverpool had back in the day, right? He's our most important player, and everything goes through Calvin. Okay, that's fine. So let's forward think and have a fucking 18-year-old kid in our PL title-winning team fucking playing the same way. So when Calvin is fucked, we have a like-for-like replacement, and we don't have to fuck about playing Shackleton in 3 different positions every game that he comes in. He doesn't get any consistency. That's why he's not performing, because he doesn't know. Poor kid probably doesn't know what the fucking hell he's doing. Same as Roberts. These players don't know what they're doing. Are they a left winger today? Are they a centre mid? What are they? You've got to be a seasoned pro to understand, in my opinion, the different positions that you need to interject between a game. An 18-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid like Shackleton is going to go, well, fuck me, I'm a right back now, so I've got to play the same as Luke Ayling. Oh, fuck me. Now I'm centre mid, I've got to play like Click. Their head's going to fucking explode. They're not mentally mature enough to do it. So what this whole under-23 shit should be is training them. Right, yes, you're playing in this position because you are the next Calvin Phillips. You're the next Patrick Bamford. You're the next Alioski, and we're going to fuck you off. Whatever it may be. whatever it is, that's the point of the under-23s.
You're the next Forshaw. Go get on that table.
yeah. You're Forshaw. Yeah, we'll never see you again. But whatever it is, but that's the point. And why? I don't get it. Huggins came on and was absolutely superb.
He was class.
Was good, yeah.
He was brilliant.
He was.
So they've got it in them. These under-23 players have got it in them. So if Calvin's not there, give it a like for like. Rather than playing a fucking centre-back in a different position, give it to the under-23 lad who plays the same position. And if the under-23s are not playing the same system, which we know they are, why aren't they coming through? That's what pisses me off.
So do you think we should have like a shadow 11 where like every player is told, you're the understudy to him, you're the understudy 100%. To him, watch his game, see what he does, I want you to learn that role?
Listen, every professional player at some point, every football, whatever level you play at, whether you're a kid in a playground or whether you're a fucking playing five-a-side, all of us were like, right, today I'm going to be Roberto Baggio, today I'm going to be your Bower. I'm going to be, like for me, when I was a kid, I wanted to be Noel Whelan. Fucking bizarre, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, you have a player, like, that's what we do as footballers. Everybody does that. So if you're an under-23 player, the management should be saying, right, you play a similar position, like model your game on this guy, because he's ahead of you in the first team. If you can do what he does and get better at it, you'll fucking overtake him. It's simple. For somebody who is so ingrained in philosophy of football, I do not understand why our under-23s are not going man for man for the first team. Like Somerville looks fucking brilliant at under-23 level. Let him come on at right wing. Say to him, model your game on Rafinha, do what Rafinha does, and fucking challenge him for that first spot. I don't get it.
Can I make there was something I had a chat about with someone previously, and it kind of made me think about when I was playing football, and I was trying to, I didn't play to a high standard by any means, but I think regardless if you're 16 years of age, the best way to progress as a footballer is to play B team football, essentially, is what it is back home. Reserve team football, where you're playing against men. You're not playing against kids your own age who you can absolutely skin on a daily basis. You need to be playing against grown men who are rehabilitating and going back into a first team. Proper heavy football. That is like, the problem now is that the football, like Adam was saying, the Premier League too, it's a load of absolute horse manure. All it is just prancing around the place. It's not really challenging the players. And what the reason that some of them look so lightweight when they come into the first team is because they haven't been kicked about the place. They haven't been knocked about in the way that when the likes of Noel Whelan was younger, he'd have been playing reserve team football breaking into the Leeds first team. He wouldn't have been playing under 21 football, under 18. If he was 18, he was playing he was playing reserve team football. And you're getting hockeyed about the place. And that's why the players, I think, in my opinion, nowadays, are a lot softer than they were maybe even 10 years ago. And I think maybe, like you were saying there, lads, it's like maybe to try and have a shadow 11 where not just a shadow 11, but I think like a shadow 11 league where it's going to be players that are either in the first team squad, or they're the shadow 11 where they all just go out and they play proper physical football. They don't play under 23 football. And I think maybe that's how you start to progress these players quicker into the first team. Like Beckham and all them, they came in at 18, but they were hard as fuck, like, you know what I mean?
But they've got rid of the reserve leagues, haven't they? It doesn't exist anymore as a prospect. It's a development league now.
I think that's what Karl's saying, though. It needs changing, doesn't it?
It is the problem
do you
because
know, I see where you're coming from, and I really do agree. I think the way, because Leeds can't change that. That's a systemic problem. But you're right. But the way that there's 9 Leeds players on loan at the moment. They're out on loan. I mean, some of them will never come back. Lauren de Bock's still in our books. He's never coming back. And
I know, but youth players like that are out.
Yeah, there's younger players, Robbie Gotts and Bogus, and we've got players out there that are being toughened up in that manner because they're playing lower league football. They're going to be getting kicked about because they're going to be technically more proficient at playing the football. Yeah, they're going to be.
You send them on loan. You've not got them here to step in if you need them, have you? So
and you can't coach your philosophy.
Yeah. So they're learning the physical side, but not the philosophical side of it.
Yeah.
Then you've got the lads who are still here playing the lightweight football, and they won't know what being smashed by a 15-stone bloke going through your legs is. Do you know what I mean?
And but the thing is,
you were going with that.
Very careful with that one. Very careful. Very careful.
Robbie Gotts has been cleaning up for Salford. He's got a few goals and a few assists, and you can see our style is kind of. He's trying to implement it a bit because there's a few tweets where he's put them out and he's like, check the press, and then they've scored from it. And I'm not taking it away from Salford now or anything like that. Their manager's probably doing a good job with them or whatever. But you can see he's trying to implement the things he's learned at Leeds where he is now. And that's the kind of thing. I think Gotts, Bogus, all them youth players that are out already, there's another lad at Oldham. What's the lad at Oldham?
Was it Jordan Stevens?
No, it wasn't Stevens.
No.
Yeah, McCalmont. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I think when they come back, they're going to be a step or two ahead of Shackleton, a few of the lads, because they've had that. I think they're we've how many there that are on the peripheral of the first team? Why not send them all out and bring there is a few and maybe we should just send them all out and work the under 23s with bringing the under 18s into that, and then eventually once they get to a certain point, 18, 19, don't fucking keep them in the under 23s, sack them out to get kicked about for a while, and then bring them back when they're ready.
The one thing on that, having said that, is aren't we still the second tier of the development league?
No, PL2. So
PL2, isn't it? We're second tier of the development league. So, if you get additional benefits and your players are going to play against more technically proficient players in the top flight, don't we want the better players, Somerville and so on, Gellart, in there to push themselves up that, have the experience of actually moving up a level, but equally to also play against your young versions of Foden, because they're going to have to play against that level as well.
Yeah, but mate, we've all played football, I'm sure, at some kind of level. Now, if you were playing for the B team, if you were playing for so and so B against so and so B, you knew you weren't in the A team. So you're just playing against B team players. So you know you're playing against players that aren't the best at their club, no matter what level it is. You just kind of accept it. Now, the 72 football league teams, yeah, I think each Premiership club should say we're going to put up 5 players who we think are going to be our next big things, and they should loan them to each to Championship, League 1, League 2 clubs. Every Premiership team should do it, and they should all say we're going to put up 5 players, 10 players, and these are the guys that we think are going to be breaking in for different levels, and they should put them down into them levels and make
almost like a draft.
I was just thinking that.
Almost like a draft.
Maybe.
Because if you've got an 18-year-old lad who can score goals for fun under Leeds under 23 level, fucking send him to League 2. See how he does there. He'll get battered by some 38-year-old centre-back.
But he'll learn.
If he's a gifted midfielder, send him to League 1. See who he's up against. And if you've got, just how many good centre-backs come from the Championship? We're seeing it all the time. I've seen it today. Ezri Konza, he's linked with fucking Liverpool and Chelsea. He came from Championship. He's a young kid. He got signed up. He played in Championship, and now he's they've got to get their grounding. So Premiership.
Did Conor Cody come from Championship?
Who's that?
Did Conor Cody come from Championship?
Well, they were with him in the Championship, weren't they?
Cody was released by Liverpool, and I think he ended up at Wolves, didn't he? And played at various levels at Wolves.
They were there before he. Yeah, I was going to say we were there well before they were in Premier League, weren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is what it is. So every Premiership team is stockpiling players. So fucking get them out.
Do you know what would fix that? If they brought in a rule and said, like, like compensation for youngsters if they get taken by another club. If they brought a rule in and said, if they played competitive, like professional adult level football, the compensation goes up by however many points if they played so many games. And if they like tied that into the compensation system, they'd soon be sending them all out on loan, because then it'd be like if anybody took any of them, they'd get more money from them. And that's what it all is for Premier League.
It's incentives, isn't it?
Or
So if they tied something like that into it, that could work.
Or we're talking about this 5 sub rule that everyone's been banging on about recently. Make it 5 subs, but 3 of the subs have to be players from the under 23s. Bring them on, and you have to bring them on.
I get that. I like that. But to go back to your point, Jay, what you'd be then doing is incentivizing Premier League stockpiling players. So we've got Chelsea that have got 70, 80 players on their books, 50 of which will never see the first team. And that
maybe, but they'd be out playing somewhere.
Yeah, but they'd be out playing somewhere. They would never. So all they would do is there might be one player in 50 that makes it at Premier League level, and the rest of them just get farmed out. And the club don't care about them, because that one player then finances all of the rest if they make it the real big time. And all you would have is the big players would vacuum in all of those up and coming players, and they would ruin them.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I mean, I've not put any thought into this. It's just something I've come up with.
No, I get that. I get that. I'm not trying to be harsh about it. I get that. But I just fucking hate Chelsea and ruining players' careers, and it pisses me off.
Just to kind of get back to the poll.
Sorry.
No, not at all. No, I actually
Kenner should have been playing.
No, well, this is the thing. I actually like the way these kind of polls, they spiral into other sections, and then we just kind of pick up other things. But we always do come back around, which is great. Like, but do we think that that's a viable option, that we start sending more youngsters out to League One, League Two?
I think we need to.
And do we think if Bogus comes back, is he going to be an ideal kind of with Slotch in there if Calvin's injured?
Oh,
maybe.
Bogus, I mean, further forward,
more attacking.
He's more of an 8 or a 10, isn't he?
He is, but he's a stocky old lad, and he knows how to play forward. Like, so I don't think we'd have to worry about anything there. Maybe.
Listen,
my only other point:
10 million for Click and play Bogus next season. Simple, done.
Probably won't notice much difference while he's playing.
Done.
But that's harsh because he's done well for us. But as we said, sentiment's no place for it.
Well,
my only point about the loans, though, Gilly, just quickly, is if you do send them all out on loan, you're caught in kind of catch-22, right? Because you want to keep your best players in case you need them.
Yeah, but you don't really care about the club that they've gone to, do you? You want to care about your player, so you put a recall clause in there.
And can I recall in the transfer window, though?
That's all right.
Well,
I mean, but you can only name a certain amount of club players in your squad anyway.
True.
Unless they're under
25 anyway, isn't it?
And this is the problem.
If they're under 23, under 21 or something, you don't have to register them, do you?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? The Premier League and the EFL are two different entities. So they need to work together under the FA badge to make English football better.
I agree.
We talk about football's coming home and fucking this and that, and it's Euros this season. Bollocks. If you've got so many players basically working for two different companies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So come together. You've got this superpower business, which is the Premier League, with all these wonderful fucking talents. It's like having an Apple store and Curry's. Do you know what I mean?
Or your local little fixing your mobile phone shop.
That's exactly it, isn't it? That's the problem. But you might have some guy who can fix your phone in 3 seconds, and he'll be the best phone fucking. But we don't know about him because he's in a little phone shop in Wimbledon.
No, you're right, and just the last point on that is the trickle down economics that the Premier League actually thinks that they're doing the EFL a favour by giving parachute payments to clubs that have been in the Premier League, and that's going to resolve any issues. Well, all that actually does is allow those top six that you mentioned earlier, Karl, to bully everybody else and get back into the Premier League when the bottom six comes out, and vice versa, and just yo-yo around, and it doesn't benefit anybody. All they do is vacuum up the good players from the other teams that can't afford to keep them.
Exactly. So stop giving money, give players, give talented fucking youngsters a chance at all clubs across the EFL, trickle the players down, and then you'll get a better quality of football coming through. The league standard will improve from League 2 to Championship, and all of a sudden we'll have we'll have a bigger pool of English players ready to fucking represent the country.
So what we can take from this poll is we've essentially fixed English football by wondering who would fill in for Calvin Phillips. I'm absolutely delighted by this.
That's cracking work, guys.
That's absolutely class.
That is brilliant work, lads. Well done. Can I just point out that Barcelona are properly in the mud? Mbappe just scored PSG's fourth goal to put them 4-1 up at Barcelona.
Wow. This is over only one leg as well, isn't it? They're not doing two legs with this new thing now.
And can I just say that Huddersfield were 1 up, and their opponents, Middlesbrough, had a man sent off and still beat them 2-1.
Wow, that's awesome.
Anyway, right, so
my cat's turned up, but you can't really see him, but that's why I'm waving my hands around.
You'll wave your hands around as much as you want, as long as we can see you.
All right, mate.
Yeah. On the desk.
It's a deal.
Hands where I can see him, Jay.
Moving on. Right, the discussion on the next game. So, Jay, I am going to come to you on this piece. So, Wolves is our next game. So, hopefully, you've had a bit of a chance to have an opportunity at looking at what the fixture looks like, what we're looking at. So 8 o'clock, I think, on Friday night is the kickoff time. And obviously, for everybody that's listening, there will be a Berardi and Coke that will be coming out after that. That's the match day pod. But Jay, I mean, what are you seeing coming from that fixture?
I'm hoping that we're going to win that one, to be honest. They've had a couple of wins and a draw, a couple of losses in the last sort of 5 or 6 games. So they're as inconsistent as we are at the moment. We're sat just above them at the minute with a game in hand on them, 2 points ahead. So, I mean, at this point of the season, we have done better than they have. So there's no reason to me why we can't go into that game and beat them. I'm going to be honest and say that I don't know a massive amount about Wolves this season and who's even playing for them. I've not really taken a close look at them, to be completely honest. I were a bit surprised to see them sort of struggle a bit as they have, because they did so well last season. I think they've got a decent manager who he has some good ideas, and his tactics are generally pretty good. I think they've got, from what I know of last season, they had some good sort of promising talent and stuff. I'm not, as I say, entirely sure who they've got this year, but they've been pretty hit and miss, a bit like we have. And I think it's a kind of anyone could take that game. It just depends which Leeds turns up and which Wolves turns up. If we turn up and play like we can, we could absolutely smash them. But at the same time, if we turn up and play like we did for the first half against Arsenal, they could smash us. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, but so could Sheffield United if we turn up like that.
Yeah, that's true. So, it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's very, very difficult to call. And yeah, that's.
So I mean, in answer to the question, what's gone wrong with them? Raul Jimenez not being available is so critical.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, and that's honestly that's it. And as soon as that happens, I will play fair to Jason, who's a regular in the group chats and so on with us, even if he's not a regular on the pod. Hopefully, he'll be joining us pretty soon. But you'll know him as Rex Arms, and you will know him as Rex Arms on Twitter. He was one of the first to say they're going to really struggle without him, and they really have. You know, they've really looked
I remember
quite
him
poor.
saying that actually.
Yeah. They have really looked quite poor. I mean, in terms of that I think it was just before the weekend fixtures that it was confirmed it was back in full training, which is really good news, because they described it almost as a car crash injury type thing, and it was awful, and there were questions as to whether he'd play again. So that's really good news for him.
To be fair, because I'm such a professional, I've done zero research before this. I went blank on the spot when you asked me. I couldn't think of any of the players' names.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, we focus on Leeds. Fuck off.
Yeah. I don't really pay much attention to anyone else, and then put me on the spot, and I'm just like, oh shit.
No, that's fair.
Then you'll say like Jimenez, and I'll think, oh yeah, shit.
And Traore.
Well, I was just about to say, Karl, I'm going to come to you on that.
Brain.
So there was a question. There was a question on Twitter that I think was put out either this morning or yesterday lunchtime or something. That was, would you take Traore? Would you? So we've got a Wolves winger. They've got Traore that's still at Wolves. Would you do a direct swap? If you weren't in a situation where you had a wage differential or anything like that, if you just had a direct swap where you were going to take a squad player out of ours and bring a squad player of theirs in, and the one thing that I would say is that he's had no goal involvements this season.
I'll be honest with you. I think Traore is still a work in progress, regardless of anything that he's done, past or present. Look, I saw that question earlier on Twitter, and I had about 10 tweets wrote, and then I deleted every one of them. I thought, no matter what I say, I'm going to sound like a tool, but I'm going to say it. I think he's at the stage where Hady Sacco was when we shipped him off to Turkey.
All power and pace and no product.
All pace, no end product. Like you said, Gilly, man, he's had no goal involvements this season. And Costa's got, 4 goals now and 2 assists?
Yeah.
Which you can't really argue with. So
well, no, I mean, how many games has he played? If you look at minutes, how many minutes have they played?
Yeah, he's played less minutes than Traore. But he's played less minutes than Traore. Yes. And he's still produced, regardless, like, whether we think he is like Marmite at the moment. And I think, I'll be honest, the way he plays sometimes when he comes on, I know we've slated him and we've, had difference of opinion on this and that, but 4 goals and 2 assists kind of puts it on the end for me there. I wouldn't swap Traore with them at all, if I'm being honest. I'd just keep him, because Traore, like I said, still a work in progress, but Costa knows the system and he knows Bielsa.
Knows the club. No, but ultimately,
I'm not going that far.
To be fair, I think you're right. And why swap a player that actually most Leeds fans, he had a very good start to the season. I think everybody will admit, and we'll say he had a good start to the season. Yeah. But we've got what is in effect a winger that we're not using readily because we've got better players than him. Why would you swap him for an ineffectual winger? What's the point?
Yeah.
Surely you want to bring him better. And is Traore better? I don't think he is.
No. I think, Costa, let's be honest, Rafinha coming in will absolutely just decimate anyone's confidence of trying to get that spot back. Yeah. And you can see it's had an effect on him, but
you can.
As a backup, he's not the worst backup to have.
He's not. He's not.
I wouldn't have Traore over him as backup.
He does score the odd goal here and there. He pops up in the right place.
I'm not saying he's perfect in any way at all. He had a great season last year and he kind of carried it in for the first few games and this season, but he's kind of dropped off when Rafinha came in and got up to speed. But I wouldn't, as backup, and we were talking about it with the poll outcome.
Yeah,
he is the kind of backup that we need. He's like, you wouldn't put Alioski in there behind Rafinha if you were taking Rafinha off for any reason at all.
No,
you'd put Costa in there.
You would. You're right.
And he can play on both wings. So, no, I wouldn't swap him at all. I wouldn't.
Okay, so Adam, I've got a question for you then.
Go on.
How many times in your life have you turned to a man and said, "Can you oil me up before I go on the pitch, please"? Honest answer. Come on.
No. Our listeners won't know.
Not nervous laughs at it all.
We do have a group, and I said, "Do not ask this question."
Did you?
Did you? Listen. All fucking about aside. I would take Traore every day of the week, because what we struggle with Leeds at the moment is a plan B. Now, if we're fucking struggling to break a team down, take Bamford off, stick
Put Traore
Traore
up front.
Fucking he's rapid, he's strong.
He's not a striker.
I can give a fuck. Look at his attributes.
Hang on a minute.
Listen, he's fast.
He's basically, he's fast.
No,
Hang on a minute. I've got. He's basically, he's Darren Huckabee.
Hey, I liked him.
No, he's not, though, is he? He's not.
Come on. He's Darren. Hadi Sacco is a brilliant link, because all pace, all get to the byline, all got no idea what to do now.
Just wallops it across the box.
I get it. I get what you're saying. But Hadi Sacco was built like me. He's built like out of spaghetti. Traore is a fucking unit. If we stop fucking about, stick Traore up front and play the ball in behind the back four, he's gonna be fucking through there like.
So why aren't Wolves doing it?
Henry's pace.
So why aren't Wolves doing it?
You are.
Well,
why aren't
their
Wolves doing
manager's
it?
not as clued up
Because
as
they're
Adam.
still. I don't know. I'd take Traore ahead of Costa, 100%.
That was the question, and that's a fair answer. You know, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one, and everybody else is.
Yeah. Like Adam, you were saying there, he's massive and he's huge and he barges through everyone. How long do you think he's going to look like that if Bielsa gets hold of him?
That's a very good point.
He's not going to look like that. Calvin was sweating on 74% body fat or something. I don't know what it was. It was like, what?
And again, can I just, because I said about Wolves doing really well their second season, Sheffield United doing shy. What were Traore's stats last season? Because I know he's had a shit season this season, but what were his stats last season? Didn't he get more? He did more attacking runs, more crosses, more assists. Liverpool looking at paying 80, 90 million for him at some point. But this, I get it. I get that he's having a shit season. But so's Click. So's a few of our lads. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of players having shit seasons. It's a very difficult time with no crowds. So let's be serious on this.
I've got some stats. I've got some stats. So this season so far, he's had 23
don't care about this season. He's been shit this season. Last season.
23 appearances, no goals, no goal assists. 2019-20, 37 appearances, 10 of them substitutions, 4 goals, 2 assists.
How many chances created?
I don't have that in front of me. But
you're
what
clutching at straws there, man. You're clutching.
But the one thing that I would say is that he had 37 appearances and only got the same as Costa has this season.
I don't know. Yeah, but what could he do? It's the talent, it's the potential he's got. Could you see Costa going up another level? Can you honest? Is Costa playing at his absolute peak, and he's still a championship level player? Has Traore got another gear to go up with a right manager? And
I think he should have by now.
I'm looking at his stats because you asked me to look at his stats. He's got 5 goals in 5 seasons.
Oh, fuck me.
Oh, no. Come on. Maybe.
Do you know what?
Maybe Nuno knows something after all.
When he was at Barcelona as a kid, he was decent.
Oh, Gilly, man, you've just hung him out to dry there.
Sorry, Adam.
Mate.
Adam, I'll take a bit of the flack off you and admit that when I tried to look up his stats, but I looked up Armand Traore instead.
No, but the thing is, right, Traore's got...
It were close.
I'd still take Adama. I'd still take Adama Traore ahead of Costa because he's got raw talent and raw potential and raw pace, and a Bielsa would do more with him, I think, than Costa. Costa's at his level. Costa is absolutely at his peak, and it's still championship to bottom 6 Premier League level. I think Traore would be able to go above that, in my opinion.
I mean, the one thing that you can probably say that it's in support of your argument is that Costa's had the benefit of playing for a world-class coach. And do you know, I will say, we've spoken about coaches that we'd be happy to see come in. I'm not certain that I'd be happy to see Nuno come into Leeds. I don't think that it'd be a good fit for us, to be fair. But at the same time, he's also a decent coach. But he's not Bielsa. And so the one thing that I would say in favour of your argument there is Traore has not had the opportunity to play for a world-class coach like Costa has. So although Costa's getting better stats, he's also playing for a better coach. So, there's a bit of to and fro.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
There is, yeah, there is. So that's fair enough. So bit of a discussion there. Thanks, guys. We've got one thing tagged onto that is we're now going to come to what I think has now grown into everybody's favourite part of our podcast. I've got to be honest.
Absolutely.
We are bringing on the Hawk topic. So the Hawk topic, as most of you probably know, but for any new listeners, where have you been, is this is where we talk about whether we want the true legend of the game, David Hockaday, or the upcoming fixtures coach, who in this instance with Wolves is Nuno Espirito Santo. So, Karl, I'm going to come to you first. Where are we going? Are we going the Hawk or are we going Nuno?
Well, look, Nuno was a goalkeeper initially for club and with all that, and he's gone into management and he's taken to it like a duck to water. But as Smarty likes to point out, it's just not a 10-meter swimming badge, you know what I mean? So,
lifestyle.
What's the other one he's got? He's got.
It's definitely not a cycling proficiency. That's the one.
Yeah, that's
cycling
the one.
proficiency.
And plus, I think Nuno's starting to look a bit like Mick McCarthy being stuck at Wolves too long. So I think it's going to be the Hawk for that particular reason.
I've got to be honest, I don't think it looks like Mick McCarthy at all.
I was going to say,
he's going grey.
the right words, Gilly.
He's going grey, and he's lost it all up here. But Mick McCarthy kept it up here and didn't have it here, and that's my twisted logic.
Do you know what? I'm gonna move on, Jay.
He's very rare that you move to me to save the day, isn't it? But
Jay, you're next on my screen. We're in the Hawk topic, and we're looking at Hawk, and we're looking at Nuno. Where are you going?
Well, there can only be one answer for me here. It's got to be the Hawk because he's got Junior Lewis's phone number, and Nuno hasn't.
Did he put in
all
the
the
stream?
stars? Did he put what?
Was he in this? Did he put him in a stream?
He might have done. He had him at Leeds with him, didn't he? So
put half the squad in the stream, didn't he?
He did. This lad, you talk about coaching abilities and all this. He thinks on his feet. He's like the A-team of coaching. Nowhere suitable to train? Fuck it. I'll chuck the lads in a river and they can battle. You can't teach that. You
can't teach that. Adam, I'm coming to you next. And I'm just going to run through a list of the teams that Nuno's been at. He played for Porto, Aves, Dynamo Moscow, Porto again, Osasuna, Merida, Deportivo La Coruña, Villarreal, Vitória Guimarães, and played for Portugal in the under-18s, under-21s, under-23s B team, and has managed Rio Avenue, Valencia, Porto, and Wolves. Or the Hawk.
Well, bearing in mind that Deportivo La Coruña in our Champions League run was probably one of the greatest performances I've seen from a Leeds team in my lifetime. He's played there, he's been there, so I'm going to go for him. I'm going to go for Nuno just for the memories. Cheers, Nuno.
And he had a full 4 appearances for them.
How many?
4.
That's all right.
Did he look a bit less like Mick McCarthy when he played for them?
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible for Nuno to look less like Mick McCarthy than he does at any point in his life.
I'd love to see Nuno do a bouncy action.
But has he ever got scared by nothing? Now, the thing is, that's 2-1.
Where you going, Gilly? It's all on you. You rattled off. You rattled off Nuno's playing career, but the Hawk, Blackpool, put Blackpool on the map, turned it into the place it is today. Swindon Town, Hull City. You know
what?
It's been everywhere.
You know what? I was, yeah, but you left out Swindon, and you left out Forest Rovers.
Was it Swindon?
Was he at Swindon?
Submarines.
Yeah, he was at Swindon after Blackpool.
Swindon Town, yeah, but you left out. He managed at Forest Green Rovers.
He did, but I was talking
4 years.
Career, Gilly. Come on.
4 years. Do you know what?
Was that?
Do you know what? I was in a position where I was gonna go. You know, Nuno's never been at Leeds, and the Hawk has, and the Hawk was taking us to the Champions League. He's got his 10-meter swimming badge. He's got his cycling proficiency.
And you ruined it.
You absolutely ruined it, Jay. This is your fault. You said he put Blackpool on the map. It is a shithole. It should be pushed into the sea. It can be fucked right off. And I'm going with Nuno.
Hey, you've obviously never had a weekend at the darts in the Winter Garden.
Fuck the Hawk and fuck Blackpool. It might as well be Manchester.
The whole Blackpool comment could have swayed my decision as well there, but you asked him before me. And I wouldn't have been going off on one thinking he looked like
I used to love a weekend in Blackpool when I were a lad.
I bet you did, riding the donkeys.
You know me, Karl, you know me.
Okay. I mean, we've done a hot topic, so that just brings us on to the last element of tonight's pod, and that is the predictions. So I'm going to hand to you, Jay, just to collect everybody's predictions.
In that case, I'm going to go to Mad Adam first because he's not had a rant for a bit. What are you going for this week, Adam?
Do you know what? I'm not going to have a rant. I'm going to just say this quite calmly. Wolves, unfortunately, are going to beat us 2-1.
Jesus Christ! I wish I'd never asked. Gilly, what's yours?
Do you know what? Fuck Wolves. We're going to smash him, and we're going to smash him 3-0.
Get in, man.
Okay, hell, mate.
3-0.
All right, Karl, it's your turn.
Karl, don't play.
Are you abstaining again?
Man. I don't play this game.
But we still ask you just in case.
I know, yeah. There's some nights you might catch me off guard and I might be pissed or something. I might give you another prediction.
We'll get you next time.
Then you'll message Gilly and say, edit that out, Gilly.
Yeah.
I will share. We had Smarty and Luke on with us just before we started the recording. Smarty went 2-0 Leeds and Luke went 2-1 Leeds. So Adam's gone Wolves, everybody else. So we've got a 4-1, a 3-0, a 2-1 and a 2-0 so far. So it's a nice spread this time.
Even though you've filled my prediction in for me, it's like I am going 4-1, obviously.
You're just predictable, Jay, man. That's what it is.
Well, that's it, you know. I like a bit of consistency, mate. It keeps things on an
the worst thing, Jay, you've gone that all fucking season and you still had it
fucking once.
I think you're the only one.
Back in the other team.
You should start putting a quid on that every match day, man. Just put a quid on 4-1 Leeds.
There's no point. I'd be well down by now.
Put a tenner on. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah,
Ben.
Yeah, do it, man. Do it.
I'm going to do it for the Wolves game just to shut you lot
up. No.
Yeah.
3-0, not 4-1. Although 4-1 would get me 3 points because it'd be the same differential. So anyway, what I want to do now, I want to say thank you to Karl, thank you to Jay, thank you to Adam, thank you to everybody listening. This has been the Ought to Know Better podcast, and fuck it, let's go out and smash the Wolves.
Yeah,
Can I just say one thing?
Let's have them.
Can I just say one thing?
Go on, Mad Adam wants to say one thing before we go.
No.
Here we go.
So I've got one of my mates who lives in Watford. She listens to this pod every week for some bizarre reason. But she's just got her first house this week. So I just wanted to say, I know she's going to be listening and she subscribes and supports us. So Mel, well done for getting your house. Shame you're a Watford fan. Hope you get them so we can fucking batter you next season. We need revenge at Cardiff. So well done, Mel.
Congratulations,
Mel.
Well done, Mel.
That's special. I think that might actually be our first shout out of somebody that's not been involved in the pod. So well done, Mel.
Yeah, it's a milestone, that.
Well,
and you'll be lucky if I don't edit it out.
Oh yeah, shit.
You're so cruel, Gilly. You're so cruel.
All right, thanks very much, fellas. It's been emotional.
It has indeed.
Cheers, lads.
See
See you in a bit.
Bye.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
Bye.